Digimon Frontier and Digimon Adventure, I would say, are the two most popular Digimon seasons that I see on my channel, with Tamers and the concept of Armor Digivolution coming up just below, which is why I was super excited when dedicated patron and supporter of both channels, GreenET, suggested that I do a video that fuses Digimon Adventure with Digimon Frontier and doesn't use custom art. What is up, digital companions? My name is Karn EX and welcome back to this video that I'm recording for the second time because I lost the audio track on the first one. Yay! So GreenET suggested to me that I should do a video exploring what it might look like if the Digimon Adventure cast, instead of getting Digimon partners, could Spirit Digivolve like in Digimon Frontier, as if that gimmick was always the gimmick. And like I said, this is not going to be custom art because there are 8 Digidestined, each getting 3 forms each in this video, which would result in 24 pieces of custom art. Channel ain't making that much money. However, if you like this video concept and it does well, I will definitely consider maybe doing custom art for something like Digimon Adventure 02, which has a much smaller cast, or maybe, you know, the channel will explode and we'll be able to do any custom art we want. If you want to support custom art videos, you can do that over on patreon.com/KarnEX. Thank you very much. So what's interesting about Spirit Digimon is they actually have a lot of the same archetypes as Armor Digimon. They ostensibly use a transformation device to get a kind of armored form, but with the personalities and ideals of each of the kids kind of merged in there, more so with Spirit Digimon. I'm going to be looking for much more humanoid forms for the human spirits, matching the physicality somewhat of the kid. So for example, if you think about Frontier, Zoe is a girl, so she gets feminine forms. JP's a fatter guy, so he gets to become more of an idealized version of what he wants to be. And Tommy is short, so he is short in the human spirit, but they subvert that with his beast spirit by making one of the biggest beast spirits for him. So I want to do something similar with the Adventure cast. The beast forms can be a lot more diverse, but still have to be animalistic and bestial. And for the fusion, I'm ideally looking for a form that looks like it could reasonably be a merging of the human and beast spirits that I've chosen. But if there's no Digimon that fits the bill, then we're going to go more for the thematic links or at least some visual connection. I really did consider using Eiriasmon's various forms for a lot of these, however I did resist, but in that vein, I'm not incredibly concerned about the levels of these Digimon, and I'm more looking for visual cohesion, as Spirit Digimon do exist outside of the level paradigm. However, where possible, I've tried to kind of keep it human spirits champion level, beast spirits ultimate level, fusion spirits mega level. But again, there'll be some mixy-matchy in there somewhere. Beginning with Tai, he has the crest of courage. He's the leader. He's the gogglehead. Courage is flames, and it's also related to dinosaurs, specifically Agumon and its evolution line. I'm gonna dismiss Flamedramon as a possible contender here, only because I feel like it's a little bit too 02 linked, and maybe if the 02 kids Spirit Digivolve, they might just become their armors. So while I am gonna use Armor Digimon in this video, I'm gonna try and use Armor Digimon that were not in the OG canon of Adventure 02 and more come from like outside media. I'm also not going to use Shadramon because I don't think it matches Tai too well. Where does the bug element come from? So that led me down a path of some interesting choices. First of all, regular Eiriasmon, right? That would be fine. However, I want to really focus in on that fire of friendship. No, I won't use a Agunimon. It would be really funny to just use all the Frontier spirits here and be like, video done. But I did consider Meramon, and I like Meramon a lot. But if we're going to go for a flame encompassed body, let's pin that one back for a second. And then I got a brainwave. I thought, Tai, courage, flame, dinosaurs. I know where there's been a prominent humanoid flaming dinosaur Digimon recently. Beetlegamamon. Okay, so Beetlegamamon isn't the most armored looking Digimon. You could say its skin is as tough as armor, but official art and its outings in Ghost Game depict it with fire-based attacks. And its reference book listing even says that its body turned red from the flames of its burning soul. Perfect. Soul, spirit, that's basically the same thing. I really love this for Tai. I think it works. I also like that Beetlegamamon has the spike, which, yeah, kind of resembles Tai's spiky hair. I think that's fun for a thematic link. For Tai's beast spirit, it gets a little bit more difficult. We're going to just use modern Digimon. I think Helugamon would be a really good fire beast spirit, but it does kind of lean more on the wolf side of things, being a Lugamon evolution. That's when it hit me that Flareizamon would be near perfect here. It has an armored headpiece, it is fully engulfed by flames, or the flames of courage in this instance, and it's a lizard, a reptile, a dinosaur. Nothing much more to say there, I just like it. The fusion then, difficult. What can fuse the dinosaur element? Well, to me, I think it makes a lot of sense to use Weirdomon. Funnily enough, actually, Ancient Greymon would work quite well here, but we can't use the ancient spirits of Frontier in the Adventure continuity Spirit Digivolving, so Weirdomon I think is a pretty good second tier pick. Though, looking at Beetlegamamon and Flareizamon, you really could combine those two guys into Agumon Bond of Courage, and I don't hate that. I don't think technically technically we can use a bond in this instance, because are we rewriting adventure continuity, in which case all of them are on the table, or are we not? Weirdomon, Agumon, Bond of Courage. Some part of me really wants to use Bond of Courage, but let's say Weirdomon for now. Moving over to Matt, he has the Crest of Friendship. The themes there from Garurumon are wolves, blue fire, possibly leaning into Metal Garurumon. We have like the ice and steel theme going on. And then if we look at the Digi-Egg of Friendship in 02, it manifests in, yes, a quadrupedal form, but also lightning in Weirdomon. The overall theme being spikes, I guess. And yeah, I think Rinkmon could be a good human spirit evolution for Matt. Maybe you could say that Matt's harmonica became his ice skates. And I do think this kind of like dashing hero vibe that Rinkmon has going on also works quite well for Matt. And this is a super stretch, but the way that Matt's hair goes from Adventure to 02, going from slightly more spiky to longer, that could extrapolate into Rinkmon's hair being like spiky but long and heading towards the back. Looking at Matt from the side, I can see how that hair could become Rinkmon. For his beast spirit, I had a few contenders. First, like Toge Mogumon or any of the other more bestial friendship armors would work. However, a connection I really like is the fact that Runamon, the Pulsemon evolution, in its official art, very much to me seems to be intentionally referencing Weirdomon. The posing of Runamon and Weirdomon's official art is near identical, and given that Runamon is on the Impulse City Dim card, which released at the exact same time when the Vital Bracelet, rest in peace, launched alongside the Vmon Dim that was a special pre-order bonus for the yellow version, which had Weirdomon on it, you can kind of see how maybe Runamon is meant to be a Weirdomon reference. And I think Runamon for Matt works quite well. It's got spiky hair. Maybe that's just an anime trope overall. It's kind of annoying actually, because other Pulsemon evolutions like Bulkmon have yellow spiky hair almost, which would just be exactly like Matt. But for Runamon, they went with white, although there's a little bit of yellow in there. We can count it. Using these two though is a near impossible task. However, it's become my new Hyokomon, I admit, but it's so versatile. Benryugamon Takamikazuchi is a blue spiky wolf that carries the Kazuchimon, one of the mega levels of Pulsemon, sword in its mouth, meaning it's a lone blue wolf of fire merging the electric and thunder elements together. And if we have Runamon as a beast spirit and Rinkmon as a human spirit, I think that's pretty good. Two other contenders I considered though, much like for Tai, Gabumon Bond of Friendship, yeah, could work great here, especially because Gabumon Bond of Friendship apparently has a motorbike form, and Runamon, motorbikes, Pistmon, it all comes together kind of. Though a very recently revealed Digimon is Erlangmon, which is a DNA Digivolution of Cherubimon Virtue and Metal Garurumon, great for Matt, from Digimon New Century. And it looks like a Spirit Digimon. It looks like it should be part of the Lobomon family, like a new transcendent form for Lobomon or something, I don't know. So that's a really strong contender, but I do really love my Fenryugamon Takamikazuchi compromise. Moving over to Izzy, he's a short guy, he's great at computers, he has the Crest of Knowledge, which hints at his great intellect. His intellect, his knowledge is a huge part of his story, and he's also got a partner that is bug themed. And if we look at the Digi-Egg of Knowledge and its armors, they're all bug themed in some way. This to me created two distinct possibilities for Izzy in my mind. First of all, the human spirit, I wanted something that was a little bit shorter and reminiscent, given that we do have a bug spirit already, to JPs. Which is when it struck me that Ballistamon might be a really fantastic human spirit. Or if you think Ballistamon isn't as humanoid as it could be, its evolution Atla Ballistamon looks even more man proportioned. But I like that Ballistamon's a little bit shorter feeling, just like Izzy. Also, it being a robotic bug really melds those two sides of Izzy's personality, his partner Tentamon and his love of computers. Then for the beast spirit, well again I'm thinking about modern Digimon, and I think Hoverespimon could be fun. At first this may seem a little bit out there, a little bit crazy, but the reason I'm choosing Hoverespimon is obviously again because of its whole technology theme. It's admittedly more of like an espionage agent, but that's fine. However, it is kind of like a UFO or a UFO hovercraft, which is why I would make the fused spirit Ebemon, the Area 51 alien robotic Digimon. This works in a couple of ways. First of all, bugs kind of feel like aliens that landed on Earth. They're really weird. Combine that with Hoverespimon and its kind of hovercraft UFO base, you get an alien, a UFO bug. In addition to that, Weirdomon had a very big part in Izzy's story in the original adventure, and Weirdomon even showed up in Adventure 2020, kind of in homage to that. And Ebemon is a de facto Weirdomon evolution. It's part of its reference book. So that, the human spirit Ballistamon, the beast spirit Hoverespimon, and the fused spirit Ebemon is definitely way more out there, but it's one that I actually really adore. I think it works very well. However, if you want to move away from the alien aspect, even though again I think it's actually pretty well connected to Izzy, you could instead go for Ballistamon as the human spirit, Searchmon as the beast spirit, a knowledge armor digivolution. I think that works pretty well. And then go into something like Shivamon for the fused spirit. However, Shivamon's just a bug with some armor hybrid element. It kind of mixes Ballistamon and Searchmon, I guess, but I actually much prefer the cutesy Ballistamon, the cutesy Hover Espimon, and the weird alien Ebemon for Izzy. It's kind of fun. Or, you know, throw Tiger Vespamon on there too. That could work. I don't know. As always, we need more bugs, Bandai. Mimi has the crest of sincerity. The themes there being grass, femininity, but also kind of like surprising power. Palmon becoming Togemon, but then Lilymon emerging from the flower, but still being more strong than Togemon. And also Mimi's kind of dressed like a cute cowboy, so it was very tempting to give her Magna Kidmon, I can't lie. But for a human spirit, I settled on Kabukimon. It's a very humanoid, but still sort of flowery form, and obviously it's got a Japanese theme, which is from the Digi-Egg of Sincerity. I'm not really sure where that comes from in origin. Mimi isn't one of the more traditionally Japanese members of the original 8 Digidestined. I mean, of course, they're all Japanese, but Mimi's always flying off to like Hawaii in the USA. I think out of the girls, Sora is probably the most traditionally Japanese of the bunch, but still, that is a theme of the Digi-Egg of Sincerity, so I'm okay with it here. I do also, however, love the idea of using Lilamon as her human spirit. It's a little bit more pared back than Lilymon to me. I always feel like Lilamon could digivolve into Lilymon. I think I've discussed it before. But of course, Lilamon is the other pre-evolution of Rosemon from Digimon Data Squad, meaning that Lilymon and Lilamon share an anime mega. So Lilamon being referenced in that manner, I know it's an ultimate level, but I think it's fine, as Mimi's human spirit could also work very nicely. For a beast spirit, a few things enter my mind. One that I'm really tempted by is Entmon. It visually lines up quite well to Petaldramon, which is the would-be spirit from Frontier. I do like that a lot, but Entmon is a little bit too evil in my opinion. However, put a pin in that for a second, because the fusion spirit I think can go one of 3 ways. The first way is Bloom Lordmon. It works with Lilamon, but especially Kabukimon and kind of any beast plant Digimon. However, one of the prevos in the VPETs for Bloom Lordmon is Teropiamon, which would be another fantastic beast spirit. Refleximon just works if you use the feminine form of Lilamon, but with Teropiamon being a more kind of creepy, bestial, out there plant Digimon, Refleximon being based on corpse flowers, that could work. And as much as I hate to use it, Hydramon works kind of in multiple ways. If we go Kabukimon and Teropiamon, Hydramon works. If we go Kabukimon Entmon, Hydramon works fantastically, and the same for Lilamon and Entmon in my opinion. So for me, I am kind of stuck between Refleximon and Hydramon. I don't love using Hydramon in these videos just because of what's going on there, but I do think potentially Kabukimon, Entmon, Hydramon might be one of the better Frontier style human beast fusion ideas. Also, I noticed this in post Future Karn here, but doesn't Lilamon's headpiece kind of resemble Mimi's cowboy hat? Fun connection. Sora, the crest of love, weirdly has some fire going on with Birdramon and Garudamon and even Phoenixmon to an extent, though that avian theme also connects to the wind. Sora herself also has a love of flower arranging and is often seen in traditional Japanese garb. Folding that together was difficult, but I think I like what it came up with. First of all, her human spirit will be Harpymon. Now yes, Harpymon is a light armor, not a love armor. Looking at all the love armors, they're definitely more animalistic than they are humanoid. And out of all of the light armor Digimon, Harpymon is definitely the most bird-like. And I think intentionally evokes Sylphimon, the Gatomon, and Aquilamon DNA Digivolution. And Yoli and Sora are connected, which in turn means Sora and Kari are connected. They were on the same team together, and Yoli and Kari, their Digimon makes Sylphimon, and Yoli has the crest of love. That kind of triangle of Kari, Yoli, and Sora, I can see Harpymon being a good result of that connection. For the Beast Spirit, I struggled more. Didn't want to use any of the Biomon line. Didn't want to use Aquilamon because that's so intrinsically connected to Yoli. And then I thought about Sora, Firebirds, traditional Japanese garb. This video is going to make a small minority of people that can't handle there just being a limited amount of Digimon probably a little heated. Phototherapy. I do think Baraimon would work quite well here. Now, yes, it is quite humanoid, but if Sora is kind of one of our Zoe equivalents in Adventure, Kazemon and Shutumon were both quite humanoid, even though Shutumon was supposed to be a beast spirit. Same could be true of Baraimon. Of course, if you don't like that, you can go with pretty much any bird Digimon here. Kokatorimon. I don't care. I just think Baraimon's a bit different. And for the fusion, well, yeah, Baraimon has an evolution line that ends up in Chronomon Holy Mode. And I do think Chronomon Holy Mode is a nice merging of Harpymon and Baraimon conceptually when you look at it visually. White feathers and a chicken. But another good pick could be Shongpongmon from Digimon New Century. It's a little bit more weird, but it's a big bird slash fish billowing out with like smoke and feathers. I think that could work too. You consider Harpymon being all the white elements and Baraimon kind of being the East Asian traditional influence. Admittedly, Shongpongmon of course being Chinese and Baraimon being more Japanese, but there's still a thematic connection you could work on there. Over to Joe, the crest of reliability, which has a very mismatched theme. Gomamon and potentially Plesiomon, who at one time or another is slash was a Gomamon Mega, are very much tied to the the water, marching fishes, for example. However, once it starts digivolving into Ikakumon, Zudomon, and Vaikmon, it gains much more of an ice, thunder, and furry element, which really divides me on how to approach Joe. However, if we look at Digimon Adventure 02, Submarimon, using the Digi-Egg of Reliability, becomes an aquatic form, a vehicle. So I'm kind of going to go two ways with this. The first one, if we have the opportunity to use the water element with a male human, Splashmon. I've been wanting to use it as a Spirit Digimon for forever. This is my opportunity, and it has Darkness Mode, which is its perfect beast spirit. Splashmon and Splashmon Darkness Mode, I've talked about this a million times, I did a whole video on it. They feel like Spirit Digimon, like Lost Spirit Digimon. They don't lend themselves super hardcore to a mega level or equivalent Digimon that could be their fusion spirit. I think Regalicusmon is a fun pick, a kind of dark pirate crustacean Digimon. There is also, of course, Neptunemon, which is like half man, half creature, kind of works. Or you could just go with Splashmon Darkness Mode Drippins, which is just like Popeye Splashmon. If we want to move away a little bit from the obvious pick of Splashmon in Darkness Mode, however, I think another good pick could be, and there's a little out there, first of all, giving Joe Gorillamon as his human reliability spirit. It's an upstood, white-furred creature with a little bit of armor or weaponry going on, evoking things like Ikakumon and Vaikmon. I would then have its beast spirit be Commandomon. Now, Commandomon is a champion normally, however, it being a furred, white, often vehicle Digimon, I think is a great parallel to Submarimon in 02 and how the Digi-Egg of Reliability manifests, and indeed how Joe would ride Ikakumon sometimes. From there, the fusion, well, we could use Frozomon, which looks kind of like Commandomon. Doesn't really fuse Gorillamon and Commandomon that well, but I still like it. Or you could go with Skullmamon. It loses all its fur, but it's very much related to ice and like mammoths that were frozen in ice and things like that. And Mammon itself being a furry Digimon it could digivolve from. Or a really weird out there pick could be Rasenmon, which is again covered in fur and has these kind of drills or horns which feel similar to the horns of Ikakumon and Zudomon. I do think there's something really nice in using Commandomon and Frozomon for Joe. However, of course, as he is the main one tied to water, Splashmon in its Darkness Mode probably should be here. Moving over to TK, he has the Crest of Hope, which connects initially to kind of like Holy Digimon in 02, constellations and horse adjacent forms. He's also the youngest of the group in Adventure, I think, or at least he's roughly the same age as Kari, and is very diminutive. He's the Tommy of the season, which is why it's a no-brainer that the recently revealed Digimon Luxmon should be his human spirit. To me, when I first saw Luxmon, it looked like TK in Angemon cosplay, or Pidomon cosplay, I guess. His beast spirit got a little bit more difficult. I think a pick I like is Gargoylemon. It's a bestial form. I've actually used it as a human spirit before. I think it also works as a beast spirit. However, if you want to go really beastly with it, Gargoylemon apparently can fall and become Manticoremon, which I think is great. Manticoremon being this like corrupted Gargoylemon, I think is fun for a beast spirit when they tend to be more aggressive as beast spirits. And it opens up some more options for our fuse spirit. For example, we could use Lucemon Fall Down Mode, the white wing of Luxmon and the darkness of Manticoremon. Or whether we use Gargoylemon or Manticoremon, a really obvious pick, I think, with their slashing claws and Luxmon folded in, could be Slash Angemon. It would put an Angemon into TK spirit forms, and its very blue coloration is similar to the Vmon underbody of Gargoylemon and kind of Manticoremon. So I quite like that. And finally, we end on Kari. She has the Crest of Light, which is a light spirit. Let's just use Lobomon. I'm kidding. Again, we have a very angelic theme, though also it folds in more beast-like themes too, and kind of like cats, I guess, with Gatomon and Magnadramon. So that was an interesting thing that I thought about. And in 02, with Nefertimon, there's an Egyptian theme too. For Kari's human spirit, bear in mind this is Kari from season 1 and she's still short, I think it would be perfect to use System Blanc here. It's a tiny little semi-holy humanoid-looking Digimon, and the pink rabbit that it wears on its head really, to me, does actually remind me of the pink of Magnadramon. While, of course, Magnadramon isn't a rabbit, with these kind of like wings and feathers coming off it, feels incredibly similar. The beast spirit, then, we're looking for a quadruped. I think Hippogriffamon works well. While, again, not overtly holy, it looks very holy with its white wings and white feathers, and its quadrupedal nature matches up nicely to Nefertimon. For their fusion, though, it's kind of all bets are off. My first thought, I went to Archangel. It's a new Archangel Digimon. It's not an Angelwomon, but as we know with lovely Angemon, it doesn't need to be an Angelwomon to be feminine, and it kind of feels like it works for Hippogriffamon and System Blanc, though speaking of lovely Angemon, that would work great too, and given that Kari has brunette hair, that could be a connection. So I will say, as I've talked about hair a lot this time, it is interesting how, and I think someone will have to comment on one of my videos talking about this. I can't find you to track you down, I'm sorry, but full credit for you coming up with this and talking about this. But it is interesting how all the hair in Frontier seems to change color. I'm not sure whether I need to stick with that as an actual theme. If you look at like a Gunimon having much more blonde hair in comparison to Sequoia's brunette hair, it's something that you could interpret yourself at home. However, I just like the idea that lovely Angemon has similar hair to Kari. I think it's actually supposed to be similar hair to Miki from Eirias. And one final pick, if we are going to do that kind of like brunettes becoming blonde theme, is Venusmon. And yeah, Systemon Blanc plus Hippogriffamon. There's a white bird, a dove of peace that Venusmon has. Yeah, Venusmon actually could work really well as a fused spirit. But anyway, that is it. My ideas thanks to GreenET over on patreon.com/Karn EX as to what might happen if the Digimon Adventure kids could Spirit Digivolve using existing Digimon. Like I say, if you want to see more custom art videos, go over to patreon.com/Karn EX like my Sovereign ZDK14. This video I just think logistically could not be a custom art video. There's so much stuff I've got to pay for at the moment. Life is crazy, let's just put it that way. But I think if this video does well, we could definitely pick it up as custom art in future if enough of you want to see it. And I think this still actually really works format-wise without custom Digimon. I think a lot of the fun of these videos is not just inventing Digimon, but seeing how existing Digimon fit into these concepts. Especially, it seems recently, we have a lot of Digimon in the past like 3 years that specifically worked for this concept. Fenrirugumon, Takemikazuchi, Luxmon. They didn't exist before, and that means that because they exist, because these official Digimon exist, videos like these are possible. But anyway, that's just my thoughts on the matter. I will see you when we go digital. Bye bye.